Hello, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today to discuss with you a topic which seems to be of great value and importance, and that is the topic of absolute pitch. I'm here in a beautiful space of a local church, and I hope to bring you some insights as well as some records of um, of absolute pitch exploration for a person who is not born with it. However, despite the um, vast musical opinion, want to kind of dive in a little bit and explore for himself. So we seem to be greatly unfortunate if we speak of the field of hearing, um, to the great opposite of our vision. Uh, the vast majority of us seems to perceive music and sound in a relative way, which means by relating some elements to others. That is, some notes being higher, others lower, and this technique is known as relative pitch, a staple of musical training worldwidely. However, no, no, no great difference there is between the perception of one trained or untrained still deals with relationships. However, a great deal of a new layer is being brought if one is aware of these relationships, and this also provides a very accurate and a very practical skill for musicians to interpret, break down the structure, predict notes to be played, and so on. However, if we speak of absolute pitch, there is this aspect of another layer of perception, and this layer of perception seems to be available only for 1 in 10,000 people, and other than being gifted with some genes or being exposed to some kind of musical practice in very early age, at a very early age, it is globally approved that there's nothing to be done there. So if we imagine this world of grayscale vision, there's a dimension missing, and it seems to attract a great many people, opinions, and arguments. I've put up a test here today, and I will try to explore. As we said, our test will consist upon recalling notes on demand. I have a pot here with all the 12 chromatic notes. Written in a third century type style. Um, I have them all 12 here. However, difficult for me to present you on a little stripes of paper. And there are as numerous as there is notes in a chromatic scale. And I have the spot. I will pour them in, and later on, after I talk you through, I will try to recall the notes and sing them upon demand, and use this recorder to give ourselves a reference. So a very sketchy test, not very scientific. However, I have to be not subjected to a reference. I have to talk long enough to make this much less probable, Um, and I am here to bring something genuine of my own, not for any kind of other motives. Um, Certainly not born with any kind of talent towards perfect pitch, absolute pitch. And if we speak of relative pitch, it seems to be, however, certainly should not be called easy. The practice of relative pitch takes time and effort. However, it is within an obvious reach. Like, let's say, these are patterns which stick to the ear, and the question is only of how, to what degree they are trained, like a perfect fifth, ta ta, or an octave, ta ta, or semitone, ta da, and etc. However, these are just relationships which treat of references, and without these, a musician trained with relative pitch cannot determine uh, 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 the note if not exposed to reference. What I am talking here today is the absolute style of hearing. There is another dimension in which one distinguishes pitch color by itself, its innate quality, and therefore has access to another dimension of sound. And there are the whole journey is very much like first being used to something. This is a relative style of hearing, and then so this is grayscale vision, right? Things brighter, darker, and then searching for something completely new, unknown, and therefore the very great challenge. And the question being, are there really mechanisms in our ear for everybody there? Willing to put a great amount of dedication and effort. Is there such a thing, and to what degree one can hone these abilities if there are there? And some can be answered, some not. I hope to present that that is possible, and I will not be relying on any quasi-absolute pitch methods like vocal tension pitch. Some fine singers I use to determine pitches and notes. I will not rely upon any kind of timbre pitch like maybe clarinetists, saxophones could have developed over time. Maybe the middle register of the instrument is kind of characteristic, and they mapped out and the notes, and they kind of relate. Maybe they even reach to an almost absolute pitch level with this, because such instances are known to be true. Uh, and however, I'm only these all differ from absolute pitch in terms of perceiving pitch color. So I think I'm here long enough talking. The wonders of this world are absolutely limitless, and if there is something there, a wonderful dimension to be discovered, why not to put an effort to explore and have access to it? So I will give myself a little bit of time to accommodate, and we will proceed to the test. The video has to stay in this form, uncut, and raw footage. So bear with me for a second. Okay, so having given myself a little bit of a rest from this talking, I will now select with eyes closed. I have an A here, perhaps the most characteristic tuning note for orchestra and etc. So let's try an A. I will now try to imagine the color with eyes closed, and then pronounce it, sing it, and Then here whether it matches all together or whether I have to adjust or nothing near the abilities we are accustomed to with people with inborn perfect pitch, however, may be of some relevance for such a for people who are seeking the same. So, an A. Da, 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 da. I think I have an A, so I'll check. Da. So we have an A, and the note has been randomly chosen, so it's no question of remembering it. And I want to warn you that sound flows may be present in this test, um, and I still want to stick with trying to provide something, and not for the sake of impressing anybody, but however for the use and purpose of others willing to discover. So let's. I give myself a little bit of rest again because it takes some mental effort, and we'll proceed further. And F. Do, 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 do. I think I have an F. So I was a little bit sharper, so I was more like do, and the recorder said do. Still, I hope that it was within an F range and not yet a quarter tone or the note higher. Let's proceed. I have a little bit of ambient noise around also, and my perception is greatly imperfect. So. An F sharp. However, these are too close, so I will kind of discard it for now. And I will tell you a little bit about the colors that I hear, because this might be the interesting parts. G sharp. So G sharp will be kind of pointy, going with some speed and velocity, however with much more thickness and bass than the A, however faster and brighter than a G. That's how I would describe the G. Is very kind of mellow, very thick for me. So let's begin. Da, da. This was an A still. Da, 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 and this should be the sharp. So da. And some colors are very close to one another. I would say a B is similar to a C sharp. However, the C and the B are very much unsimilar. the C would have been more like pink for me, the B more like a heavy violet, hollow, the C sharp much kind of faster. I'm curious of all other people's experience on this. So I have a G. I think it's too close to the G sharp. We still have a very short. We have only a very short amount of time left because before the recording ends. So I have a D. So I'll double check. So here we have a B, a very much hollow, mellow tone. And if we speak of these kind of methods, one may say how it translates to flowing music. Well, this practice, this technique is already an advanced skill of perfect pitch, absolute pitch, because it treats of oral recall as an active imagination and then confirming. That is different to interpreting kind of notes being played and being displayed. I hope to bring some more content on other tests, other ways, other skills of absolute pitch. One may wonder how does it relate to flowing music. Well, if I take so much time and effort and etc. Well, there is a layer even at this point of absolute pitch learning of color which you hear and in music flowing. However, it might be a kind of too blurry, too fast flowing to be able to tell, but it is there. It adds a dimension even at early stages, and I may try to sing why not to reach for our masters of classical music, why not to try a Bachel suite, but being focused on pitch colors flowing. So I choose Rostropovich discusses in a great deal of the color of the D minor mood and how the energy is being gathered for lips at the cello suite number 2, the dark one, the mellow one, sad one from the minor mood, but also the D key. And we have these notes D, F, A, and can one sing with the awareness of them? So I will try to demonstrate. Do, do, do. Sorry for the mistake. Do, do, do. This should be a D. Do, 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 So there's a lot of ambient noise, so it's difficult for me to hear. But I think I have the key down, and we can proceed further. Do, D, Yes, I think it is. So let's proceed. And when I listen to this flowing music, I can hear some colors. However, now I'm a little bit under pressure. Do, do, da, 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 do. C sharp. Do, da, 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 da. B flat. Da, 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 da. Ro, da, ro, da, 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 do, da, do, da, da, va, do, va, do, da, do, da, 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 and this is the D again, so the full range is being reached there. So the whole of this passage is there from D, F8, do, do, da, and then da. Some part is there. So these are visible for me in terms of hearing, not labeling any visual color to the notes. When I listen to, I'm not born with the ability. I've put a lot of dedication and passion towards it, and somewhat the video reveals also what I've done to reach there. And no much recipe there, no much easy cues. On one hand, has to build the sensitivity through this kind of non-relative style of listening. This was Alex Jurek from Poland, and thank you for staying with me. It was a great pleasure for me to introduce you. I hope to bring more later. Thank you very much. Have a nice time.